Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into comic book movies, blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Devon. And today we are going to be reviewing episode 2 of Midnight, which is titled Summon the Suit. Summon the Suit. Summon the Suit, Devon, right now. I want you to summon the suit. Absolutely.
I wonder what mine would look like. A tuxedo t-shirt. Casual.
Mine would probably be something dealing with like sweats or, you know, just look like a ghost on Halloween or something like that. But as I mentioned before, we are going to be reviewing episode 2 of Moon Knight, second week. Man, oh man, we're halfway through what I've already watched, but rewatching these has been a treat, just because there's a few things that I've noticed, especially in this episode, that definitely pay off later on, so to speak. But before we begin today's episode here on the show, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible, and many, many more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter at FilmOptix. That is Optix with an X, or email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie related questions. So Devin, how's your week been? Happy hump day, my guy. We're halfway through the week.
Yeah, we're getting through.
Yeah.
Today's a bit of a rough one, but it's over now. Just gotta power through, get that suit on.
Summon the suit, Devin. Summon the suit. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's been a pretty rough, tough day. This whole week between yesterday and today has been pretty long. But hey, you know, as of this recording, this will be out on a Thursday, so we'll almost be done with the week. So it's kind of cool, you know. I feel like April's flying by. This is crazy, and it's only April 6th as of this recording, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I feel like we're already halfway through April, but I mean, hey, maybe Doctor Strange tickets came out today. So Devin and I have officially secured ours. So that's very, very exciting. Did you have any issues with that through the AMC today, or did you kind of just roll out of bed, click, clack, and then you're done?
Well, I just did it like a half hour ago, and I was having issues. I had to reload.
Yeah, I was having issues pretty much all through the day. I had to cancel one of my AMC reserves so I can make room for, Doctor Strange. I mean, it kind of sucks, but, you know, you kind of need to at least sacrifice one spot, depending on what you're seeing that weekend. But for the longest time, it showed that I canceled it. And usually within 2 to 3 minutes, you get that reservation back. Took a lot longer this time around. I had to keep refreshing. Then I updated the app, refreshed again, and then I closed out of it for a bit. And then maybe an hour ago is when my third ticket finally came back to me, and I was able to use that for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Are you seeing it in Dolby, IMAX, standard?
I wish.
I keep forgetting. I literally keep forgetting. Man, oh man. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it in Dolby. I wanted to go the Dolby route just because. I mean, I love IMAX, but I like the Dolby seats so much better. That is the number one seller for me. I mean, Dolby it's fantastic in and of itself, with the sound and whatnot. And the picture, I honestly think I can't remember if the picture on Dolby is a higher res than IMAX. Somewhere I read that it was, but I would have to double check that information. It's really weird, but don't get me wrong, I love IMAX screen, but I don't like the seating in my theater. So I'm just going to have to forego the IMAX and go across the way over to the Dolby theater. But Devin, are you ready to summon the suit and get into this episode of Moon Knight that we have ready for all of our dear listeners out there?
Oh, yes, Steven.
All right, Mark. All right, latest gators. We're about to go into latest gators. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this introduction to Moon Knight episode 2.
losing it.
Real catch you are. You're bloody useless, Stevie.
Stephen. I can't tell the difference between life and dreams.
All right, and we are back with our Moon Knight episode 2. If you haven't listened to our episode 1 review, what are you doing? Go listen to it, then come back, listen to this episode. You know, it's all the same. You know, we're going through this every single week, as we have with every Marvel show so far, which is crazy to think about. In a way, as I've always mentioned, like I kind of like how it's only 6 weeks because it's not super long, so it doesn't bleed into other things that we want to cover. But at the same time, I wish it was just like a smidge bit longer between each series here. But as we mentioned in our episode 1 review, the creator of this is Doug Moench and stars Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke, May Calamawy, and many, many more. And the synopsis is always as followed. A former U.S. Marine struggling with a dissociative identity order is granted the powers of an Egyptian moon god, but he soon finds out that his newfound powers can be both a blessing and a curse to his troubled life. So, Devin, we're just going to dive straight on in, getting into our initial reactions of Moon Knight episode 2, titled Summon the Suit. So lay it on me, man. Tell me what you thought about this, because this is technically your first time watching it. This is my second time. So lay it on me.
Yeah, I thought this was another great episode, another great entry into the Stephen Grant Moon Knight run, I guess you can call it, because he's still hanging on for now, or at least until the end of this episode. He's hanging on for dear life, his identity. I do like how they kind of showed him turning in his like name tag to his boss, kind of symbolizing a possible exchange of identities as well in the series. Yeah, I thought this episode was a lot, like, I thought it was a lot funnier. I thought there was like a few good jokes in there. Like when Stephen Grant takes over and gets a suit, there's some funny moments there. Get to see some more Ethan Hawke. He's great as always. He just keeps being sinister. Pun on words there. But
yeah.
It's always the year of Ethan Hawke. He's always
around. Always flying about.
We got another suit reveal, which was unexpected, but great. I'm liking all of the suits we've seen so far, and I'm liking the CGI we've seen, unlike some people we know.
So for those who don't know, actually, I don't think anyone out there would know. Our group of friends from back home, they are not a fan of the CGI of Moon Knight, calling it CW level bad.
Yeah, that was just like absurd thing to say, because nothing is that bad.
I was floored. I was like, excuse me, hey, if you don't like the CGI, you don't like the CGI. That's fine. You know, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I cannot sit here and accept that Marvel Studios CGI is as bad as the CW. That really just blew my mind.
Yeah, it was painful.
Very, very painful. And like I said, you know, to each their own, that's totally fine. But yeah, that's just crazy talk. I don't know what they're talking about there. But for my initial reaction, again, you know, this is my second time watching it. Second time watching with, I guess you could say, everyone else. In a way, I kind of wish I would have just watched it, you know, week to week. But, you know, I was given the opportunity and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. But yeah, obviously, you know, this is another home run episode. I feel like this story has, you know, since we're only going through 6 episodes, you know, we're a quarter of the way there as of right now. And we've already learned so much. You know, we get a little bit more expedition between the relationship between Mark, Steven, and Kanju, which is the moon god. And of course, more of the relationship, or digging into the relationship and the inner workings of technically Mark and Steven's life. You know, we were introduced to some new characters. So it was May Calamawy. She joins the fold for this episode, and she is fantastic. I think she is a wonderful, wonderful addition. And this is, coming from, episode 2 moving forward. I really like her chemistry with Oscar Isaac, and the Cockney accent. There's one thing that kind of not bugs me, but something that I noticed with May's character, and we'll get into that when we get into spoilers. But it was just something a little weird. It doesn't really take me out of it, but so it's more of a Wanda Maximoff issue if you're picking up what I'm putting down, Devin. So there's that. But overall, I really just love this episode. It gives you, the breadcrumbs are starting to, crumble, and you're starting to understand certain things and certain aspects. And in a way, you start to feel bad for Steven even more in a way, but it's everyone in the show is just very relatable. I mean, even with Ethan Hawke's character, he's very relatable. And we see that. I think that's a really great sign of all villains. There's always going to be the hero that's going to try to swoop in and do the right thing, as, Steven has tried, to battle with his inner demons and learning about this, other side of him, this other personality, as well as Kanju. But when it comes to the villains, it really, Ethan Hawke's character seems so layered, and it's, he's super friendly one minute, and then he's like cutthroat the next. It's crazy.
And through episode 2, we still don't know who exactly to trust, because we got his character telling us that he was the avatar for Khonshu prior, and that he escaped him or whatever, and Khonshu's bad news. And then we got Mark Spector, who is currently worshipping Khonshu. We don't really know too much about him. We've only seen him a couple times. We don't know if we can trust him yet.
I've seen some people relate to him as almost Venom-like because of the voice, but I don't really see that. I saw it.
The voice is something that I've kind of been questioning these first 2 episodes. It seems like it's more of a sillier voice than what I would have gone with. I would have gone with a more sinister, kind of scary voice for him, just because that's what he looks like. He just looks like this hulking skeleton creature, and they kind of went with a silly, darker voice, kind of like Venom. I can see that aspect of it, and I kind of wish it wasn't like that, but I'm just getting used to it, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I wonder if that is more of they're trying to appeal to more audiences. Obviously, I would say this is probably the most mature Marvel MCU series we've had so far. I feel like. I mean, yeah, I would say so. Just because of the tone, and it is separate, and the stakes seem very, very high. I feel like, obviously any child can enjoy this, but there might be a few scares, because there was a lot of jump scares within this episode, or just, that eerie feeling and whatnot. But definitely, I really just love how everything's kind of coming together. Oscar Isaac with Stephen Grant, he's kind of freaking out after what happened in last week's episode, and he loses his job, and that really, really sucks. And you feel for him, and then he's kind of just thrown into the middle of this not great war, but just this conflict between people he's never even met in his entire life. And he runs into Layla, played by May Calamawy, and things are starting to unfold. And definitely as the series goes on, it really just gives you more pieces of the puzzle, and I really, really enjoy it.
And we find out that Layla and Mark are married. It's very important information, because we knew they had some kind of relationship. We didn't know they were married, getting divorced possibly.
Exactly. Oh, so I feel like we are getting into spoilers here. So sorry, everyone. Yeah. So anyway, and I do apologize. We kind of got a little bit ahead of ourselves this week, and I do apologize for that. But that is your first spoiler warning for Moon Knight episode 2. Again, that is your second spoiler warning for Moon Knight episode 2. So if you haven't seen it, turn back now. Again, apologize for that. We were just we're excited to talk about it, and we kind of lost our train of thought there. So spoilers from here on out. So yes, we do learn that Layla and not Stephen Grant, but Mark Spector are married, and it creates this huge confusion because you see Layla trying to reason with Mark, and Mark's like, "Hey, I'm not Mark. This is my name is Steven." And he has a funny accent, but with her, if I felt like with Layla's accent, it was kind of going all over the place there for a little bit. If you didn't notice,
I didn't think she had one.
And I would say for about 80%, she didn't have one, but there were certain parts where it kind of slipped into a British thing, I feel like, and then it kind of just came out. There was there's a specific 2 or 3 lines that she said where it sounded like half American English and then half British English, true English. But that was just the only small thing that I noticed, especially on my second watch, just because we don't really know where Layla's from. Is she from the UK? Is she from America? Is she from somewhere else in between? So overall, I really, really enjoyed the the mystery, the banter between them, and of course, Stephen Grant I would never divorce you. I was like, oh, Stephen. he's so down in the dumps and just wants to live his life. And we also hear a little bit more about his mom as well. We don't know if she's real or not, especially with, like Devin mentioned earlier, with everything that's going on. So it's a doozy for sure.
There might be a third identity too, because somebody had a date planned, and it definitely wasn't Steven. He's not pulling anybody. And Mark's married, so unless he's being deceitful.
Yeah, I don't know. It really seems like it's switching between different personalities. So it's just what I really like. And I really enjoy the adaptation that they're going with Moon Knight, because we find out that Stephen Grant is an avatar, as we kind of mentioned before, and that with Ethan Hawke, Arthur's character, he was the avatar before, as Devin mentioned earlier. So it seems that Arthur is telling the truth, but he has like this weird, like two-faced side to him. Like we said, Steven gets kidnapped by his men, and Steven thinks it's the police when it's not. And they're in like this really weird, like revived commune place where apparently there's, no crime. It's like this mini utopia.
Yeah, it's definitely just a big cult. They're watching Animal Planet together, eating lentil soup from Victor. They're just having a good time.
I love it how Steven, he's like, I eat one bloody steak, and everything just, everything goes.
Yeah, I like that line too. One bite of steak, and I'm seeing things and hearing things.
Yeah, and it's very funny because, well, I guess since even from last week, you had mentioned that you wanted to see more action, or you wanted to see the other side of Stephen Grant. So would you say that this episode has delivered on that front?
Yeah, we're starting to see Mark take over for sure. Even though Steven's suit was cool. He did have a good choice there.
I believe that is Mr. Knight.
Yes, Mr. Knight.
Yes. He was looking very, very sharp. It's
funny how he has the perfect superhero landing, and then because it's Stephen Grant, he just falls over.
He literally just like waddles. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. So I wonder, so obviously it is Khonshu, but it seems as if the suit kind of,
he has the powers no matter what identity he is.
Yeah, it's just the form that he takes kind of mimics or resembles the personality of either Steven or Mark. So like it is the suit. It's just, I love it how he's like, dude, he's like, what are you wearing? He's like, I think it's pretty cool actually.
And I love how he got in his boxing stance, like old school, like come here. It's
it's funny because it's like it's finally Steven's time to shine. doesn't look like a guy who goes to the gym all that much or really like cares about athletics. He's just a scrawny guy who worked at a gift shop, and it's literally like a whole new world to him. He's like, oh my gosh, he's like, I'm so strong now. He's like, hey, like I can take on this jackal that's been following me. And that's another thing I wanted to actually mention. I like the use of how, it's as if this is like an invisible threat. We see, the scramble between Layla, Steven, Arthur, and the rest of the commune, and Layla's not able to see the jackal, and how Steven kind of breaks down in front of Layla, saying, like Layla wants him to summon the suit and he can't do it, and he's literally just a guy who I feel so bad for him. I really, really do, because he gets mixed up in all this. He didn't ask for any of this. He just wants to live his life. He just wants to be a tour guide at the museum, y'all. Okay. Like that's all he wants. And
now he's fired.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. Well, I mean, he did destroy a bathroom.
This is true.
So it's one for the ages for sure. But I wanted to pass it back over to Devin. Was there any other, let's actually get into final thoughts and our ratings here. So I'll pass it over to Devin so we can give his final thoughts, his rating, and if there's anything else you wanted to touch on that we haven't been able to yet.
Yeah, we're getting some great character development, some great world building. These first two episodes, obviously the first one being all about Stephen Grant, and then this one is diving more into Mark Spector and his character and what he's all about. Really liking it so far. The action's been great. That shot where he jumps across the buildings is just so cool. That was in one of the teasers, and they kind of use it as like the Disney Plus logo.
They really always find a way to use that plus every single time.
That one was very effective.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then to see him just destroy that creature on that statue, just dead, just finished. Yeah, it's been great to see, and I'm looking forward to more. I'd give this one a solid like 90. Not really any issues with it. Khonshu's voice is a bit strange for me personally. But other than that, yeah, just a strong start.
Yeah, I think for Khonshu's voice, it reminds me a little bit of, it does remind me of Venom. I would say more so of Bane. And like, he talks like this. He's like, what are you doing, Mark? And I'm like, oh, he has that, that echo-ness to him. Looks crazy as all
his design is so cool.
Yeah, I really like that. And we kind of find out, he's an outcast from the other gods. I'm really like, it's nice to kind of just watch this and not like, try to look into it too much and just enjoy it for what it is for like a second viewing. And we also learn, Mark may not be the person he says he is, because, Stephen finds all the money, the gun, and the scarab, which is supposed to be resurrecting a new god. The alligator god. I started with an A. I do apologize. I'm blanking on the name. Amit. Yeah. So which is weird because we kind of get into a little bit of a philosophical part where, Amit, she judges people for what they will do and then kills them before it happens. So I was like, oh, that's, very, very interesting. And of course, with Mark killing what he did to like the archaeologist team and whatnot, that was, we don't see anything, but it is implied. So that may lead somewhere down the line as well. So definitely for me, I would probably be on the same par as you. Like this is a solid 90, like a really great expedition episode without taking half of the episode to explain what's going on. So there's always that. But I actually noticed, since we are only getting 6 episodes again, this ends on Star Wars Day, May 4th.
Interesting.
Which is weird because we have the do you know why they moved Kenobi back? Because that whole like May going into June is crazy.
I just think they didn't want them on the same day,
which is strange. Well, because they had Obi-Wan on the 20th anniversary of the first Star Wars film, but that's not May 4th. It is on May
27th.
Yeah, the 27th. So they pushed it back, I think. I don't know. It's strange. Anyway, but yeah, I just thought it was kind of strange that this is ending on Star Wars Day. I feel like they probably could have bumped this up and started this a week earlier in March, but just to kind of let Star Wars have its day too. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, not complaining because, you know, it is what it is there. But yeah, so 90 from me for sure. So yeah, like I said, I really love this series so far. It's quickly becoming one of my favorites. You know, it is definitely something that is I love how contained it is. And I really hope that, I mean, Oscar Isaac isn't technically going to, I don't think he has a contract for like a season 2 that we know of, or just part of the MCU. So it might just be a one-off. I don't really know, but we'll just have to see.
Midnight Suns.
Yeah. Do we know when this takes place? Is this like in the MCU timeline? I think they said something about it, but I can't remember.
They said something about Hawkeye, I think.
I think it takes place after Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. Which actually makes more sense. So it's kind of like Spider-Man. It's like the reset in a way, but we might be getting another reset here pretty soon with Multiverse of Madness. But that pretty much concludes our episode here of Moon Knight, episode 2, again titled Summon the Suit. So I just want to thank Devin, as always, for coming on. Wonderful, wonderful co-hosts. And for everyone out there who might be wondering what's coming up on the show, we have so much going on. Your head's going to pop. We have our Sonic the Hedgehog 2 episode that will be dropping on Monday, April 11th. I was close. And we're going to be reviewing Everything Everywhere All at Once. I believe we're going to try to do we're probably just going to release a double feature, to be honest, on that Monday, because that's a movie. I mean, I've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I love it. And I'm going to go see it again. It is wild. That's all I have to say. I think you're gonna like it a lot, Devin. Like this, it's good stuff. I don't want to overhype it too much, so I'm just gonna leave it as is. So we have our Sonic the Hedgehog 2 review and our Everything Everywhere All at Once review dropping on Monday, April 11th. And of course, you know, we're gonna be back next week talking about some more Moon Knight episode 3. I also believe that we're going to be releasing our Hunger Games franchise revisited Mockingjay Part 2 review. Maybe next week or the week after. We might have to release it, just depending. There's so much stuff going on. Devin's been pulling my leg to go see Ambulance, so if we can fit it in, maybe. Devin doesn't want to see because Devin doesn't want to see Fantastic Beasts. I'm already going to go see it regardless. Like, I don't need to review it. Actually, I'm reviewing it for the In Session Film website. So there's that. But other than that, when does Northman? No, Northman comes out the week after. That's right. So is that something you want to cover?
Possibly.
If we have time for Ambulance, we can squeeze it in. I promise. It just depends. Or we could just, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that pretty much concludes our episode here on the Film Optix podcast. Again, if there's anything you should be doing right now, is sharing an episode of our podcast with a friend, whether it be your mother, your brother, your lover, whoever it may be. Make sure to share an episode of the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. So that pretty much concludes everything today. We hope you guys have a great rest to your week and an amazing weekend. So that is a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian. We'll see you guys in Egypt.